Hey everybody, welcome to another recap video with Dee. I am reviewing the Ladies Who List Atlanta reunion, so let's get into it. First, I want to speak on Kiana quitting the show. That's a big blow. That's really sad. It's hard to see her go. Honestly, I think Kiana made the show what it is, and without her and Robin, I probably wouldn't have been able to make it past the first episode. But moving into the reunion, first I want to acknowledge these ladies' work ethic, their business drive. They are great at what they do. They are great examples of how to handle business in this real estate industry. So I do want to applaud them on that. Moving on to the dinner that happened in the beginning of the show when Robin assaulted Crystal. I think them highlighting it, or Robin trying to highlight it as Kiana having an issue with her and Crystal knowing about it and not telling her, that's overshadowing it. But once I saw they did bring it up later on, and they got more in depth to it, like Tiffany had no idea, she didn't see it, Kira didn't see it until they watched the show, so that's understandable as to why they didn't step up and advocate for Crystal at that time. And Kiana was the only one that really stepped up, and clearly that hurt Crystal's feelings, and I know it hurt her feelings during the show. I could see that. But in the reunion, you could really tell that hurt her feelings. Now, big ups to her. She handled it well, better than I would have. Because if Robin would have tapped me, I would have tapped her back, and then we would have just been tapping back and forth. But I'm going to leave that one alone. Robin's explanation of how the word triggered alone is not what set her off, but the actions of her friend needing to be placed on display. I don't think that was a good explanation. I think it would have been better to say how the word is really saying you're crazy, or it's implying that you're crazy, you have no control, you're psychotic, and nobody really wants to hear that. Nobody wants to hear you're triggered. And most importantly, what people who are easily triggered want is for their friends and loved ones to not push their buttons when they are well aware of how that person would respond to certain situations. So I think that was the point that Robin was trying to get across, but Robin just has a problem explaining things. I think that's what it is. But moving on, I think that Crystal, the t-shirts that she made, not easily triggered, that would have pissed me off. That was heartbreaking. That was sad for Robin. But that was a good marketing scheme. And I love me a good marketing scheme. I'm going to always give credit to a good, innovative marketing scheme. Sorry. Moving on. Now, Crystal, I saw that Crystal got a little emotional when they started to discuss the motherhood issue, and I get where she was coming from, not knowing that she had just had a miscarriage, which is very sad. So it's like, it's one and the same with the issue with Kiana and Robin, and then the issue with Crystal and Tiffany. So Crystal having an issue with bringing up a problem with a friend, and that friend writing off the problem or disregarding it, saying they don't have time for it, they're a mother. That is gut-wrenching to a woman who is having some issues conceiving. And Robin's response to it was still slick and sly and shady. I think this whole situation really got out of control. I think it really just turned bad because, you know, when Kira tried to step in and ask, you know, if she could say something, and that she was the peacemaker, and Robin interjected and put her down, saying she's not, and that she's evil and easily manipulated. Now, I personally think that that's projection. That is Robin projecting how she feels about herself onto Kira. But I'm going to leave that alone. Now, Kira's explanation of that age reference to Robin when things kind of blew up at the dinner that night, I get where she was coming from, because Robin basically antagonized her, and they didn't show us that clip. They didn't show us those clips of Robin, you know, antagonizing Kira. So I think it was kind of fake, and I think it was childish for Robin to try to make it seem like Kira was just trying to play her and her age. I think Robin really does have some self-control issues, you know, and saying things to Kira like, stop preaching God, and when's the last time you've been to church? That one was a little touchy for me. Like, that's evil. That's evil in itself, because you just don't say stuff like that. You just don't. And I'm wondering why Tiffany and Tiana all of a sudden was just Ray Charles in the situation, because they wasn't saying nothing, and everything that was happening during the reunion, they were not, you know, really correcting Robin in her behavior, you know, well, not as strongly as they were against everybody else. So that lets me know that they really are not strong advocates or true advocates for right versus wrong. Now, when the host brought up yoga and Robin got mad and walked off, I was laughing, because I said in one of my earlier videos, the yoga is not working. It's not working. And when Tiffany went back, you know, backstage or wherever they went to talk to Robin about how she was acting right there at that moment, she was so upset that, you know, Kira was mentioning how she had a breakdown on Instagram, and Tiffany was just trying to get her to understand, you're trying to prove the point of, you didn't have a breakdown on Instagram, but look at how you are acting right now on national TV. That right there spoke volumes. Robin was not hearing that. That spoke volumes. Now, moving on to the Crystal trying to get Kira, you know, to, you know, work with her. That situation goes hand in hand with the t-shirt incident. I think Crystal needs to be able to distinguish between friendship and business. What she values most, it seems like she values most, is business. And so honestly, that's just who she is, and I can't knock a woman for putting her business first, because that seems like that's all she's been doing. I do want to shed some more light on the motherhood issue. When Crystal got emotional and Tiffany tried to explain to her that, you know, she had a miscarriage too. I do get where Tiffany was coming from at the time, because she didn't know that Crystal had or was going through that situation during that time. But when she explained that, you know, she had a miscarriage, so she understands where she's coming from, and the scenario that Tiff played out with her son and him not answering the phone, and what goes on in her mind, is that right there was a clear sign of anxiety, on top of the fact that she is a mother. And I totally get that. I understand. I have babies as well. And what Tiffany described is gut-wrenching. I've felt that feeling before. I feel that feeling all the time, really. So when Tiff was saying she thinks about her children all day, that's really the point that she was trying to get across to Crystal when she explained she doesn't have time for this. She's a mother. So I get it from both standpoints. There has to be some form of better communication without having to tell all your business to your friends, you know. That right there, that whole scene was definitely a heartfelt, you know, that was a heartfelt scene. Now Robin, she was still being an asshole. She was still being, you know, slick and sly and tooting her nose up and everything. So I honestly think, I mean, I'm not gonna say, you know, I'm not gonna say what she called Kira, but I do think the term applies, and you all can add that up on your own. That scene it ended kind of weird and with a little bit of awkward silence, but when Robin, you know, pretty much left it off with that same plot that she was trying to get across from the beginning, with all the ladies coming together, working together in the real estate industry, that was actually a beautiful moment. I do think these ladies could do some badass business together as a unit. That would be epic, but I think Robin might be a little bit hard to work with. So I don't know. I do, you know, I do appreciate that the ladies were a little bit more classier in this reunion than I've seen in other shows. But you know, still Robin, there's the exception. There's that exception for Robin. She literally snapped at everybody, every single person that was sitting on that stage at the reunion. She snapped. So I'm thinking maybe some extra yoga time, maybe a little bit of, you know, some essential oils, some jazz music, cuz listen, it couldn't be my friend. It couldn't be my friend, you know. I don't know. I'm going to leave that one alone, cuz you know, I have my vulnerable moments too, but I think that there's a personality disorder versus just depression, because you can clearly see stories are being made up and they're being believed by the person they're being made up by. Moving on, the host, I really don't like how she was not able to control the situation. She was not able to control any of those moments where the ladies were over talking her. And as a host, you should not be allowing, you know, the cast members to be able to over talk you. So some of those topics, there wasn't no end point, no resolve. So they really do need to pick a better host if they do a season 2. But if they do a season 2, I probably will not be doing any reviews. So that is my review on Ladies Who List Atlanta reunion. Thank you for watching. I'll see you guys in the next video.